Hello SMITE fans, and welcome to the SMITE Spectator tutorial. In this video, we'll be going over the general functionality of the in-game Spectator as well as a few changes recently added. In SMITE, players can view each other's games through a mode called Spectator. Games can be watched either live during the game or as a replay once the game has ended. To spectate a live game, open up your friends list and click a friend that's in a game, then hit the Spectate tab. You can also type /spectate, then the player name to start spectating, or queue up to spectate their next game. Live games will always be delayed by 3 minutes to avoid cheating. To spectate a replay, go to the Recent Matches tab, which can be found by hitting the Profile button or viewing another player's profile. Click the Details button to the right of the match and click View Replay. Only ranked and custom games have automatic replays, as well as players that have been flagged so all of their games have replays. Once you enter Spectator, the first thing you'll see is the God Select screen. If the game you are viewing is a replay, you can hit the Go to Match button to jump straight into the game. If the game is currently active but past the 3-minute mark, you can also skip straight into the game. Using Spectator mode gives the viewer an opportunity to look in depth on all the players from both teams during the game. The overlay for Spectator provides a copious amount of information to the user and may take a few tries getting accustomed to. To interact with any part of the overlay, hold down the spacebar to use your cursor. On the top of the screen, the overlay shows both teams' gold pool, how many towers and phoenixes are up, total team kills, and the in-game timer. On the left side of the screen is the blue team's players, on the right side is the red team's. Here you can find information such as the god's health and mana, what level they are, their actives, if their ult is up, and if they have a buff. On the bottom right corner is the Gold Fury and Fire Giant information, showing its health, respawn timer, and how many times it's been taken by a particular team. Below that is a tab labeled Game Stats. Open it up by clicking the arrow to the left. Here you can find various information from gold per minute to how many wards each player has placed. Each category has a hotkey to open it up, which you can find to the left of the title, such as hitting forward to open up the player damage tab. To go back to the Gold Fury and Fire Giant health, click the Game Stats tab. On the direct bottom, you will find 4 tabs: Items, Stats, Graphs, and Fight. The standard overlay is Items, which shows the items built, what tier they are, consumables, the player's net worth, level, and KDA. The Stats tab shows tower damage, healing, player damage, XP per minute, gold per minute, current gold, and level. Clicking the Graphs tab will show a comparison between the two teams' total gold and XP difference. There are also timestamps to see when significant changes were made. The number on the bottom right of the graph shows the total difference between the two teams. If the blue team is ahead, the number will be on the top right. Hitting the Fight tab simplifies the overlay and only shows the gods' portraits, their ult, team health, and respawn timer. You can also see how much health a player has by how bright their portrait is. The darker the portrait, the lower the health. There are 6 buttons to the right of the Fight tab. Each of these toggle an aspect of the overlay if you wish to hide or reveal it. There is also a toggle for bans for ranked games that will show on the upper right and left corner. On the bottom left is the followed player's detailed information, even including their stats and ability ranks. This is great for studying players and seeing how they specifically build and prioritize a god. To the top right is the main camera control panel. Here you can change the speed of your game, pause the spectator, and change your camera options. There are 3 camera options to choose from: Free Cam, Assisted, and Directed. Free Cam leaves the user to fully control the camera. You can move the camera's position with the WASD keys, as well as raise it up and down using the Q and E keys. You can also click on the minimap to jump to anywhere on the map. If the distance is close enough, the camera will slide into the position you clicked. Assisted mode is the typical mode you see casters and tournaments use. By clicking on a god portrait in the minimap or the overlay, the camera will take you directly to the god and follow them until you move the camera or click on a different player. You can still control the camera freely by using the WASD keys, but the camera will no longer be locked onto a player. By clicking the button to the left of the camera mode, you can change the view of the camera from top down to the in-game third-person point of view. Directed mode is similar to assisted mode, with the camera automatically following a player, except the Spectator AI will calculate the most interesting player to watch and switch the camera to them on its own. This is calculated through an algorithm involving enemy proximity, ability use, players being damaged, and other factors. Clicking on the minimap will temporarily disable directed mode until it recalculates its point of interest. Also, clicking on god portraits or gods on the minimap will not work in directed mode. A few extra things to note. Hitting the U key will reduce all structures in the environment to better see team fights. Majority of the tabs within the Spectator have hotkeys. If you want to change any of these, you can go to the Spectator tab in Settings and set your key bindings to whatever you desire. This is also where you can change the names of each team as well as the size of the Spectator overlay. You can now also edit your Spectator overlay through the Hud Editor by hitting Escape and clicking the Edit HUD tab. If you're a bit confused about the Hud Editor, check out my previous tutorial going over it. That's it for your SMITE Spectator tutorial. For any more information on SMITE, make sure to follow us on Twitter @SmiteGame.